We will now call the Plan Commission of January 28th, 2025 to order. Roll call, please.
All chair.
Chinsky here.
Lorick here.
Gave chair.
Guzikowski here.
Seifert here.
Chandler here.
Wonderful. And we'll get us to item 3, approval of minutes of January 14th, 2025. There was a typo in your packet that said 24. Trust me, it is 2025. So I'll give you a moment or two to take a look at it. You are satisfied, there's no errors, omissions, corrections, or discussion. Motion?
Lorick moves to approve the minutes of January 14th, 2025.
Guzikowski will second.
Roll call, starting with Christine.
Anna, I.
All chai.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzikowski aye.
Seifert abstains.
Chandler abstains.
Okay. For those of you that came out, I would imagine most of you came out for item 5. Anybody here for item 4? Seriously? Nobody? Okay. Excuse me, ma'am. If you speak, you have to always be on the microphone. Agendas are usually located to the left in the book holder if you're unfamiliar with City Hall. As far as public comment goes tonight, it is not a public hearing. I'm not sure what the letter stated, if it was. I'm going to allow some people to speak. I'm going to limit it to 30 minutes. Just take a minute or two. But first, we're going to go through the presentation from the city and from the applicants. That may answer a lot of questions. And then we'll give you an overall view if we can answer some questions and take care of some things. But when we really meet for the public hearing, it will be in March. So just to be fair. Okay? All right. Leading off, we are going to do a site plan review and building plans for exterior modifications to an existing building located at 700 East Rawson, submitted by Jim Mogg, Pitt Ohio Express, LLC. Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The property is set on East Rawson Avenue, just located east of South Howell Avenue. It's zoned M1 manufacturing. As Plan Commission may recall, back in August, they came before Plan Commission with a site plan for review. They are now, that portion was for the review is for the eastern portion of the building. Now the tenant is looking to move and expand into the western portion of the building, so they are looking to now make the same improvements to that portion. Some pictures currently of what the building looks like. You can see some deferred maintenance for the building, and it's missing dock doors, overhead doors on it. So they're proposing, same as that they were back in August for the eastern portion of the building, to repair and replace and paint the metal siding to a gray color, and looking to add white overhead doors to the now 92 dock doors for that western portion of the building. They will also be painting the stairs and railings associated with the stairs white. Here's some examples of what it will look like. This is their facility in Indianapolis. So you can see the white and gray. So they're planning to do the exact same thing. And like I said, it was previously approved in August of last year. So the same improvements. So if Plan Commission is happy with the proposed, we have the suggested motion.
Thank you, Todd. Is the applicant with us tonight? Fortunately not. Okay, we're going to take it to the commission, and if there's any questions, Christine Todd should be able to handle it for us. So let's start. You look pretty anxious, Chauncey. Let's start on my right. Any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, Fred?
No questions.
Chris?
It looks good. No questions.
Greg?
Now that this is phase 2, have they completed phase 1? Do you know?
They have not started on it, no.
Okay. But it's just going to, all this is going to match phase 1.
Right, so it's all going to be the same for
Okay.
the entire building now. They weren't sure initially whether, they just needed that eastern portion. Now they're going to expand to the
Okay.
whole building, so.
And as we talked about when we went over phase 1, it seems like a vast improvement, kind of unkept open air
Yeah.
terminal that they have going on. So I have no other issues. Thanks.
Ashley?
No questions, thank you.
Steve?
No questions.
Christine?
No questions.
No, I agree with Greg. It's definitely a facelift to a little bit of a dated property. So looking forward to the improvements and what comes with it. So they are cleaning it up, and it's a good thing. So there's no further discussion, questions, motion.
York moves to approve the site and architectural plan submitted by Jim Mogg, Pitt Ohio Express LLC for the property located at 700 East Rawson Avenue with the following conditions. Number 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Steve.
Couch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
David Chai.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye. Hannah, aye.
Okay. Moving on, item 5, consideration of a resolution to adopt an amendment to the City of Oak Creek's 2020 comprehensive land use category from business park to commercial for the properties located at 10700, 10820, 10840 South 27th Street, submitted by David Scott Radcliffe, Bucky's LLD, and Eric Tracy, Kimberly Horn and Associates. Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do you want to read item 6 as well? Because I would like to kind of discuss both items. It doesn't mean the action is taking place, but I would like, you can't really discuss item 5 without
Okay,
discussing item 6.
Since they are
Thank you.
congruent, item 6, the next item, and they will be voted on separately, is a rezone request for the properties located at 10700, 10840 South 27th Street from A1 Limited Agricultural District to B6 Interchange Regional Retail District, and to rezone the property located at 10820 South 27th Street from RS2 Single Family Residential District to B6 Interchange Regional Retail District. Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Christy Lane, Community Development Director. We have 2 items before the Plan Commission this evening to consider. The proposal is to amend the comprehensive land use map for 3 parcels and also to rezone the 3 parcels. Currently, those 3 parcels are a mixed zone. 2 of them are zoned A1 Limited Agriculture District, and one of them, the smaller one highlighted, is zoned RS2 Single Family Residential District. Just as a reminder, so the Plan Commission is a recommending body, and this evening the intent is to provide a recommendation to the Common Council. These are 2 action items that the Common Council ultimately votes on. However, with the state statutes, it does require, with a comprehensive land use map, and I'll get into this in detail, that a resolution be adopted by the Plan Commission with that recommendation. So we'll go over this high level. Again, we are discussing a comprehensive land use map amendment and a rezone only this evening. There are a lot of details to be forthcoming. This is a lengthier approval process to get to the ultimate goal, with the applicant being Bucky's. Bucky's is a travel center. It's a nationwide brand. They are based out of Texas, and they're slowly opening up a few locations, moving a little bit further north. This happens to be the 2nd proposal in the state of Wisconsin. And so with that, again, baby steps, lots of steps, I should say, with this approval process. Ultimately, the timeline doesn't end until June for final approval for the actual site, landscaping, architecture of the building. So first step this evening, what is a comprehensive land use plan? It's a requirement by the state of Wisconsin Department of Administration. Every municipality must have one. The city of Oak Creek updated their comprehensive plan in 2020. It's a document that the local government's guide to how the community physically, socially, and economically develops. They're not meant to serve as land use regulations. It's not necessarily the law, but how I like to describe it is kind of a crystal ball. Every single parcel in the city is identified through a lengthy approval process when the city adopts a comprehensive land use plan. There's a lot of public involvement and a lot of scrutiny over future use of what's left in the land, but also what exists. You know, do we foresee this area changing over the next 20 years? So it's a guidance on how to, if a property is to rezone, it's a guidance for that rezoning. The rezoning can't take place unless it matches the comprehensive land use plan as it's identified. So the city's 2020 comprehensive plan has 13 categories. The parcel we're talking about is in literally the very southwest corner of the city. You can see it here identified with my cursor, and it's identified in a blue color, which is Business Park. This is how the Common Council adopted these particular parcels in 2020 to be identified as a comprehensive plan for Business Park. I'm going to change that blue to green here. So this is the existing comprehensive land use map. You can see the parcels on the 50-acre parcel on the north side of Elm Road and the parcels on the south side of Elm Road are all identified as Business Park. They're not used that way today, but again, the intent of a comprehensive land use map is to provide guidance on how, if and when those parcels are rezoned, this is how it's guided to be. So just kind of a more expanded out view. Again, the green is identified as Business Park, blue is single family, and orange is multifamily. So this is kind of a snapshot of the southwest corner of the city's comprehensive land use map. And again, that's not the law, it's a guidance. So the applicant has submitted an application to change these 3 parcels identified from Business Park to commercial. So a commercial land use is kind of exactly what it states. It's you know, your basic retail, services, office use. It's a more defined than Business Park. Business Park is kind of again what it says. Business Park is you've got a corporate headquarters potentially, maybe some light manufacturing, those type of uses. The applicant is asking for commercial because their intended use, if this project were to move forward, needs to meet the commercial category, not Business Park. So what is the process here? The Plan Commission adopts a resolution stating the recommendation in favor of an amendment by a majority vote. This is per state statutes. The statutes then require publication of a notice in the local newspaper. That publication must be at least 30 days prior to the public hearing. So the way the dates work and our internal deadlines with the newspaper and the fact that the newspaper publishes only on Wednesdays, we cannot schedule this next public hearing, or excuse me, not the next, the first public hearing earlier than March 18th. So I just want to clarify that there is no discussion about this project in February at all. The next meeting would be March 18th. A public hearing means that it's before the Common Council, the elected officials of the city, and that is actually the format and opportunity for the public to state, you know, if they oppose a project, if they are for a project, whatever comments they want to share. Again, March 18th. So the Common Council may adopt a comprehensive land use category amendment that evening through an ordinance on March 18th. Item number 6 is a request to rezone. And again, you can't rezone unless the comprehensive plan guides it correctly. So this is the existing zoning as it is today. The A1 category is limited agriculture, the light gray color. And then there used to be a house on that one parcel, which is why you've got the kind of standout RS2 single family zoning. What the applicant is requesting is to rezone these 3 parcels to B6. B6 is our Interchange Regional Retail District. It's a a zoning district that's actually only used in one area of the city, and that's where IKEA stands and the land south of IKEA. The district, as defined in the zoning code, is for high-intensity destination retail, commercial, and mixed uses along the federal interstate highway system. That seems to be the most appropriate zoning category for this particular use, which clearly will draw a lot of traffic high intensity. It meets the definition very well. So one may ask what could be allowed in the B6 district. There's approximately 60 uses, but it's just your standard commercial uses. Eating and drinking uses, restaurants, lodging, retail, medical, vehicle-related uses, service uses, and recreational uses. Those all would fall into the B6 category. Some of them are permitted and some of them are conditional. So the proposed B6 Interchange Regional Retail District would meet the intent and vision of the comprehensive plan amendment as proposed, changing that to commercial for this particular item. So the rezoning process is, again, the Plan Commission provides a recommendation to the Common Council. A public hearing would be scheduled the same evening for the Common Council to consider on March 18th. They may adopt the rezoning that evening as well through the adoption of an ordinance. This evening, we are not going to go into details with a site plan. However, we are going to share, this is a conceptual site plan that the applicant has submitted. It's about a 74,000 square foot retail store with approximately 120 gas pumps. That's 60, I'll call them like kiosks, for a better word, fueling kiosks with a nozzle on each side. So it's not 120 physical units. So, of course, a common question with the user and the applicant is, what about traffic? I just want to keep this very brief. The applicant has submitted a traffic impact analysis report to the Wisconsin DOT to review. The DOT has traffic experts who are reviewing the report as we speak. The DOT does regulate, obviously, the I-94 Elm Road ramps as well as 27th Street. That's a state highway. So this project is in their jurisdiction, and they are gonna. The project will not move forward unless the DOT experts, review it and state that the traffic flow standards have been met. So that is in the reviewing process. That will be further discussed when this item is before Plan Commission and Council. Further reviews in April, May, and June. Tonight, this is as far as we can state as the DOT is reviewing the report as we speak. So there are two motions to consider. I've got the screen up again later, but again, the first one to consider is to adopt a resolution, and the second is to provide a recommendation to the Common Council on the rezone. With that, I would like to turn it over to the applicant, Angela Yannick. Angela is with Buc-ee's, and then also with her is Eric Tracy with Kimley Horn, who is the engineering firm that Buc-ee's has hired.
Hi, I'm Angela Yannick with Buc-ee's, project coordinator. Basically here today to provide a snapshot of what Buc-ee's is and what we stand for anyone who may not be familiar with our brand. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me better now? Yes. Okay, great. Yes, ma'am. So first and foremost, we are not a truck stop. We like to be known as America's friendly and family-oriented travel center. We also hold the world record for the largest travel center with our new concept plan of 74,000 square feet. As Christy mentioned, this is the conceptual site plan that we currently have in place. There's 120 fueling positions, 60 MPDs, roughly 27 acres, plenty of parking. Our first Buc-ee's, we started in Clute, Texas in 1982. That's the top picture there. As you can see, we've grown over time. We do know what we're doing. We're an anchor for any community that we bring our store to. we bring the infrastructure brings the cars, and it attracts additional business around our site. These are a few things that help keep us popular these days. We're known for our extremely clean bathrooms, and part of the reason for that is our wonderful employees. We employ roughly 175 to 200 employees with well-paying positions. Conscientious, pleasant, teamwork, philosophy is what we shoot for. And last but not least, you can see that we have a sense of humor with our marketing. We're also known for our in-house fresh-made barbecue and sweets. We have an array of fudge, candied nuts, our Texas Roundup, which is our center focal point within the store, is kind of an attraction for our guests while they're visiting and shopping. If you stay there long enough, you'll hear fresh brisket on the board yelled a couple of times, most likely. A big part of our store has a general store or a mercantile feel. We like to partner with local vendors so long as they can keep up with the supply and demand. Some examples of those are candles, artwork, honey, things of that nature. Our intent and what we joke about for the store is if you're wanting to go on a road trip and you have nothing in the car, you can buy everything that you need for that weekend at a Buc-ee's on the way out. Again, we're very family and community oriented. We do kind of have a fan following if anyone's looked on social media, but we enjoy partnering with the community in short. 90% of our guests are over 20 miles away from our location. The main point of that being is that we attract guests to come into our store. They're not spending, or they're spending their money in Oak Creek. They're not utilizing the schools. They're not utilizing the local resources. They're spending their money. They're getting back in the car, and they're going on their way. Here's a quick screenshot of some numbers for you. I'm not going to run through all of those, but just an idea of what we can bring to the community. Our annual payroll is roughly $9 million annually. We have a very large capital expenditure per our location, and our gross taxable sales are significant as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we go to commission, I'm sure there's one or two questions. If anybody has a question, if not, I'll go to commission. I know you're here mostly for information. Ma'am, if you'd like to come, we need your name and address at the podium.
Yes, my name is Sarah Shreve. I live on 2311 West Oakwood Road. I have a couple questions, so if there's couple people in here.
If you can, shoot the questions.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
We'll have the next person come up. We'll try to get them all at once if they haven't been answered.
Perfect. So just first question, this was posted on City of Oak Creek's government page that Buc-ee's is coming to Oak Creek. So has this already been approved?
No, we're working through this. This is the first step.
That's what I thought, but on your city page, it was announced that Buc-ee's is coming to Oak Creek.
Buc-ee's is going through the process to come to Oak Creek, correct?
That's not what's written, so that's what I just wanted to clarify, that we still are in an opportunity to talk to our elected officials to hear what the residents of Oak Creek feel about this project. So that's what I just wanted to, also Buc-ee's has also posted it that they're coming to Oak Creek. So it seemed like a dumb deal, so I don't know if we're already, if we're wasting our time here talking to everybody. So we have opportunities. So my question about the traffic. So I noticed that Oakwood Road is not included in the traffic analysis that you had listed. You had talked about the highway and you talked about 27th Street. But the east-west traffic is going to be Oakwood Road. You guys are only looking at north-south. So Oakwood Road has residential homes. It's a two-way street. There's east and there's west. Our kids get on and off the bus there. We leave our driveways to go to work there. From our understanding, this magnitude of a 120 pump mega travel station is going to significantly impact the quality of life for the people that live 1,000 feet away from here. Are all you guys residents of Oak Creek? Do you guys live within 1,000 feet of here? You do. You're on Oakwood Road.
So, again,
Okay.
we're not gonna.
I just wanted to see
Yeah.
if I'm talking to the right people, because
Well,
a lot of the
We're
people.
going over the comprehensive plan. but-
Okay.
Okay, so traffic's one of yours. What's the next one?
Well, our depreciation of our property because of the spectacle right next to our home. So is a city of Oak Creek gonna guarantee the value of our home? Question.
Your home will be assessed as per state standard.
Well, but,
That's
so
how we-
near a mega travel station, Carnival would change the values of our home. And if you look, you could put up the map of St. John's neighborhood, there's over 100 homes in that area. So if you just go by baseline of what we're paying in property taxes, we're bringing in close to $1 million in property taxes that are going directly to this community. We don't have visitors from 20, 90 miles away that are just doing a pit stop for sales tax that's going to go to the state and the county.
Ma'am, you're not assessed on, you're assessed on home value around you on home sales, not by what's going in.
That's not true. There's actually many well, I
Next.
can give you some
We got a
data.
half hour and we need others to speak as well.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to say that there is research that promotes what the property value, how it depreciates being close to places like this.
Or how it raises.
Nobody's going to move into a place when you can't get out of your driveway and your kids can't get off the school bus.
Next question.
Okay. So, how is EMS going to get through Oakwood Road? There's no shoulder. So if there's traffic backed up, how is EMS going to get to the hospital? There's a hospital right on the corner. We have seen the spectacle on the highway with multiple lanes of traffic. It looks like you're scoffing at the things that I'm saying, but that's why we have the traffic analysis, right?
Exactly, and
Okay.
that's what was explained.
But
It'll be
Oakwood
done
Road
by
wasn't
DOT.
listed as part of that. Where's the east-west traffic coming from? Where are all the people coming from east of our home? How are they getting to Buc-ee's?
On I-94.
There's no entrance, sir. There's no entrance to I-94. I-94 is north-south. We are east-west.
Again, most of their people are from 20 miles out.
Okay, so this isn't a building that or business that you're bringing to benefit the community of Oak Creek. You're doing it for everybody outside of Oak Creek, and then you're impacting the quality of life of the people that have to live next to it. This isn't for us.
Still going down State Highway 241, which is 27th Street then. Next question.
What happens to the 7 other gas stations that are within 1 to 2 miles of here? And I have a whole list of them. If I think you should probably drive down. There is the Pilot. There is Love's. There is BP. There's 2 quick. Locally owned. What happens to the blight that happens when they go out of business? And we've seen it on Ryan and Howell. How long did the corner of there stay vacant? Because of a gas station. This market is fragile here already. So now you're going to bring 120 more pumps of gas. Are we? Well, I mean, okay.
No speaking in the audience.
So I mean, do
Or
we
we're
want to
done
be?
after
Do we
her
want
if it
people to
carries
come to
on.
Oak Creek because of why we moved to Oak Creek? Our kids go to school here. My boys are part of the sports teams here. We want them to go to high school here. The Root River, where my boys fish, right next to where this. I shouldn't be giving up his fishing spot, but he caught a northern there the other day. This is within 1,000 feet of where all the runoff from the fuel is going to go to. I don't disagree that, yes, there is fuel runoff. There
Okay.
is fuel runoff. We
Next-
need to do an environmental.
Next question, you're getting in the lecture.
Okay, well,
Let's go.
all right, next question. So how are you guys going to guarantee that our quality of life, where we built and we bought our homes where we were told this was a residential area, how are you guys going to guarantee that that will not be negatively impacted with this business?
Gonna raise all boats. Wouldn't you say?
It's going to raise a
It's gonna
boat?
raise the entire area. It's gonna create jobs. It's gonna create
Well,
opportunities.
there's a lot of low-level entry jobs available. IKEA, Amazon, Pick and Save, all the gas stations around here, Crumble Cookie, Drexel Town Center. There's no
Okay.
shortage of
Yes.
low-level positions. We're not saying, oh my God, there's a waiting list for people that want to work.
Opportunities, ma'am.
There's people that want to work at a gas station, and we can't get them these jobs.
Next.
Where's the need
Next
for Oak
question.
Creek to need
Next
a
question.
120 pump gas station? That's all I have.
Thank you. Please refrain. Next. Come on up, ma'am.
My name is Melinda Dobbs, 10536 South Austin Street. I know that there's going to be studies with the environmental impacts. I mean, we have the Root River, we have the Oak Creek that runs through there, and if there's any kind of accident, that all goes into Lake Michigan, and we are known for our world award-winning water. So I do think that there needs to be steps taken to ensure that we retain that title. It's one of the best titles that we can carry here in Oak Creek. With your thing showing that there is property located south of the IKEA, could there possibly be consideration that it gets moved? This is something that it's not a truck stop. And that whole southwestern corner of Oak Creek, and if you go across the street into Franklin, that whole thing is designed not for cars, but for trucks. So why would we be putting a gas station that doesn't service the trucks in an area that's already saturated with gas stations? Why not move it up by the IKEA? Wouldn't it be a great place for people to stop there and then frequent our IKEA and spend a little bit more money in Oak Creek? Why don't we consider moving it there? I mean, maybe, I don't know if the location is big enough, it's just something that I saw now, but we really need to look at the environmental impacts of this, the people on Oakwood Road. I think there's a lot of people's lives who are going to be diminished because of this, who live around there. And it would just be nice if their consideration for the environment, and let's move it up to the IKEA. Let's give them some of that money too. We can keep it in Oak Creek, and I would just like to know if that could be a possibility to be considered also.
They're working with the landowner, and that's why the interchange really did go in, is to service.
Well, I thought the interchange was put into service, like like I said, that whole corner is meant to service trucks and industry with trucks. Them little cars are gonna get run over by them.
There's no
trucks.
mention of trucks. It's just in the zoning. So this eliminates the truck traffic there because they're not a truck. What they are is not a truck stop. But thank you.
Why, I know, that's why I'm wondering why we're putting a gas station only that doesn't service trucks in an area that's primarily utilized by semis. You have the Franklin Industrial Park, you have all those farms that were just turned into where the semis go there, 27th Street, that's all trucking. Keep it for trucking. Move the gas stations more into the residential. Move it down to the IKEA if you have to, but that's really just a very bad area, and it looks like it's taking up that whole entire area. Where's there room for anything else to go in there?
Thank you for your input. Ma'am, and back.
Hi, Bonnie Kotluski. I live at 2499 West St. John's Way, the street closest to where Buc-ee's is proposing. I'm urging you all to vote against this building. And my question is, why are we doing a TIF, a tax incremental funding, which will freeze tax dollars available for schools and public services for decades for our community? I'm a teacher, and my kids are adults, but it's so important to have money available for education and public services. So why are we doing a TIF?
First of all, it's not.
You're not?
It's not doing a TIF. That's misinformation somewhere that was put out. Don't know where that came from. There's no TIF involved with this.
Okay. So Bucky's is totally funding the project by themselves? We're
Correct.
not. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Miss?
Good evening. My name is Mary Ellen Malcolm, 10351 South St. Paul's Drive, Oak Creek. First house in that subdivision and a proud Oak Creek resident since 1977. My questions to this esteemed body. Number one, how many Buc-ee's are located with less than 1,000 feet of a residential area? To me, that's very important. I've visited Buc-ee's down south. I travel for work. I know where they're located. So I would expect Buc-ee's and this esteemed body to come back with an answer to that question. Again, the traffic generation east to west on Oakwood, I have seen people cut through our subdivision. We have no lights in that subdivision because it was always told it was going to be residential. So how are you going to protect that subdivision without street lighting? How are you going to make sure that there's proper police surveillance? And again, Buc-ee's is a great establishment. I just don't think it was meant to be 1,000 feet close to a residential area. A tourist destination, that's great. We're not Wisconsin Dells. I've seen concretes, condos, apartments, turning the Oak Creek that I love into more of an industrial complex. Let's please keep a balance. Isn't that our motto, a city of balance? Very important. And also, I have other ones, but I won't go into it. Well, I will. When the freeway was renovated, we are the fair-haired stepchild because we never got a sound barrier. Our noise increased. The freeway was elevated. We have to live with the Elm Road exchange. So now there is so much noise in that subdivision, I can't sleep at night. My neighbors feel the same way. You want a petition, I'll be happy to do it. I went to our alderman. I'm sorry, it's not an Oak Creek issue. So where do I go for justice? Okay, so I talked about noise. There's a time and a place for everything under heaven. This is not the time and the place for Buc-ee's in Oak Creek at that location. I love the comments of my fellow colleague that said, why not buy a Kia? Is that going to be a better fit? And finally, Mr. Mayor, I heard you on the news saying Buc-ee's is coming to Oak Creek as if it's a foregone conclusion. Isn't that premature if you're trying to gather information? I ask you that. And again, you said about not talking. It's right here in the first paragraph, that we could have a sign-in sheet. And I should warn you, I am a state debate champion 3 times over and extemporaneous speaker. And I have sat by and watched our politics in this country go down the hill. I can't influence at the national level. And finally, federal funding has frozen. What is that going to do to us? Is Buc-ee's picking up the increase in schools, increase in police coverage? Again, I love Buc-ee's, don't get me wrong. It's just that I think we have to really look under the covers for this. And I thank you for the opportunity to ask questions, and I'm sorry I went over 1 minute.
That's okay. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, yes.
Kristen McMahon. I live at 2597 West St. John's Way in Oak Creek. I am the second house in on St. John's off of 27th Street. First of all, I'd like to know, what do you plan to do to increase fire and police safety for our community? With the number of visitors that Buc-ee's is expected to bring in, you can expect that crime is probably going to be increasing. There could be even more traffic accidents with the amount of traffic this is going to be coming in. And we probably need more support. And I haven't heard nothing in this plan to know, what are you going to do to protect our community from a safety standpoint? Also, I would like to know, my backyard, I have a wonderful view of farmland. When I moved into my home, I chose that home because of the view that I have. I grew up in a small town. I wanted the small town community with the access to a suburb, and I got that. Elm Road did not exist when I moved into my house, nor did when the subdivision was established. That road did not exist either. I would like to know, if this does go through, which it sounds like it has been approved already, what are you going to do to help prevent the light and the noise pollution, that I'm now going to have from my backyard. I have 2 small children, and they are my world, and I will do anything to keep them safe. And I'm also terrified of the trafficking issues and everything else that I don't even know if I can even trust my kids to be outside alone to play in their backyard, because I am now going to have a 120 pump gas station in my backyard. And I would like to know what you're going to do about that.
Okay, well, first of all, okay, go ahead. Yeah, you can sit down.
No, you seem like you have an attitude. You can mansplain to
Yeah,
me.
okay, so just real quickly, noise and light pollution is all done by ordinance. So there's got to be cutoff lights, got to be kept within there. The farmland view, I do agree. There's another piece of land between you and what's proposed for the Buc-ee's.
For now.
Without a doubt. Without a
now.
doubt, but somebody owns that land and they have the right to develop it.
Correct.
So that.
And this is only going to bring in more interest for that. I'm not stupid.
And possibly it will, and that's why I say when it raises opportunities.
So you want to
it
drive
raises
me out to
other
go find somewhere else
opportunities.
to live.
It's not a matter of driving you out.
That's
it's just-
exactly
it's
what's going
doing
to happen.
opportunity. Safety standpoint, we have discussed it with Buc-ee's as to what the average call is. They don't have very many calls.
What
for
about the
police and
traffic
fire.
accidents this is going to cause?
That's why the traffic analysis goes in to help eliminate that, whether it becomes a roundabout.
None of that was in the proposal that I saw.
An arterial stop, that's for the traffic experts at the Wisconsin State DOT to decide that one. So, those are the answers I got for you. You may not like them.
Because it's already a done deal.
That's what I got. Come on up, miss.
Hi, my name's Amanda Oxford. I live at 2631 West St. John's Way, Oak Creek. I'm also one of the houses that has a lovely farm view. You know my opinions, but the questions that I have for you, should this go through, what is the plan to make it palatable for the people who live there? In the diagram, I don't see any landscaping. I'm just curious, is that a separate?
Those are conditions and restrictions, yes. And they get conditions and restrictions and landscape plans and what have you. So there'd be beautification plans along Elm and the whole thing. And keep in mind, we ask for 30% green on any development site, whether it's a Buc-ee's, whether it's a BP, whether it's an IKEA. That's what we do ask for.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Stanley Chelsea, 2174 West
Excuse
Hope
me,
Lane.
We can't hear on the minutes. Please hold the applause.
Stanley Chelsea, 2174 West Hope Lane. I do see both sides of this issue. So I do have relatives that live in Texas. My cousin's son worked at Buc-ee's, put himself through college as the brisket kid at Buc-ee's. So I do understand the economic opportunities that are afforded by having a Buc-ee's close to us, right? What I'm trying to understand is, okay, we've talked about the rezoning of the other side of Elm, right, right across from on the border. What's going to happen to the zoning on the land immediately adjacent to our subdivision? Are they going to put strip malls in there, or are they going to leave it? Is there any?
Right now, there's no activity on that. I imagine we're talking north of Elm Road.
Yeah, that's right.
Right now, we're just concentrating on that property that was shown in the exhibition.
Sure. So there is no immediate plans to put.
No.
Okay.
But keep in mind, they always envision that as business park.
Yeah.
So as Christy said, a business park can contain many different things, from light manufacturing.
Absolutely.
Things like that. So
I would just ask that, consider the noise and light pollution in any decisions to rezone that tract of land.
We try to do that. And, the only comparison I can give you is there was a farm field that became an Amazon.
That's right. Yeah.
And there was a subdivision adjacent to that.
Yes.
And we did our best to put berms in there and isolate that. And we're still, limiting traffic there as best we can.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Michelle Kubasek, 10431 South Faith Avenue. So I live on the west side of that neighborhood. I got a cheese factory last year. It is what it is. It's not great, but here we are. My main question is, you said that it is not going to be funded by Oak Creek at all. Let's just say the DOT comes back and says we need to revamp that Elm Street area. Who will fund that?
That becomes a question when the traffic analysis comes back
Okay.
to make assumptions as to what it's going to be. I'm not a traffic expert, so we wait for that to come back, and then we cross those bridges as we go, whether that's a combination of the applicant, if the city finds it feasible. It can be done a number of ways, but I don't have a solid answer for you now because we don't know what that'll look like.
Okay. And then my understanding of how this works is it's not a signed deal until all that DOT stuff is all decided and all of our financing and
As Christy said, it goes through all the processes.
correct. So DOT comes back, says, hey, we need this money. Bucky says, hey, we're not willing to put this money into it. Oak Creek, we want you to. We still have a say to say we don't want it.
We still do.
Okay.
And again, you know, I'll after I go to commission, I know I'm doing all the speaking now, but I usually let commission go first, and then you know we'll all kind of put our 2 cents in. But for the most part, I'll just kind of tell you the thought process, at least from my point of view.
Yeah. So again, I live very close. I get it is what it is.
Understood.
But if we're saying Bucky's is 100% funding this and then comes back DOT's like, you need lights, you need this, you need X, Y, and Z, and now the whole community of Oak Creek is paying for this, is what my concern is.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Saad Malik. I live at 2533 West St. John's Way. I used to run a gas station right by the Miller Park. I had 3 tanks. Each tank has or had a vapor for ventilation. Summertime, you know, when the tanks, you know, when they're hot, it releases the vapors in the air. Having 120 pumps, and I had only 3 stations, so equal to 6 sides, basically 9 sides, I'm sorry. With 9 nozzles compared to 120 pumps, and I don't know how many nozzles, and my guess, I think they will have at least 10 to 12 tanks. Releasing, you know, the gas fumes in the summer, this whole neighborhood will be smelling fumes. So there will be gas. I have a very long experience in the gas station, 30 years in the gas station business. So this is my experience, and I'm not very happy with this project. So I think, you know, I agree. I'm very agree with the lady. She said we should move to the different place, right next to the IKEA.
Okay. Thank you for the input. And again, when it comes to those engineering standards, when it comes to gas pumps and things like that, I'm not an engineer, but I do know they have to meet NFPA 70E standards set by the state, EPA, and DNR standards. So those engineering standards for something of that size would have to meet state criteria. It's not that Oak Creek has those standards. So we rely on the state in-house, much like you probably did with your business, as you had state inspectors come in and look at your equipment and things of that nature. So the same thing would happen here on a larger scale, obviously. We don't want that either. Believe me, we're not in the business to do that either, nor move it and have that same thing happen anywhere in the location of the city of Oak Creek. So, you know, we'll safeguard against that along with the state.
We had another note. No matter what you do, people are living around, they will still inhale fumes. And I can guarantee you, you will see this one. If you let them, you know, build that big gas station, and I guarantee you, this whole neighborhood, all the way to the Oakwood, they will be smelling fumes. Thank you.
It's interesting. Thank you. Again, please hold the applause. Is there? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Katie Retzlaff. I live at 2089 West Hope Lane, so I live in the same subdivision as everyone else who's here probably. Like one of my neighbors said, when they redid the bridge on the one side of the road, they got a sound barrier wall that pushed all of the sound to our neighborhood. So not only do we have all of the sound, it is so loud when you open your door. Like, please come to our neighborhood and open the door and listen to the freeway noise that we have to hear on our side, that they don't have to hear on the other side. So I was wondering if something would be considered for the freeway as an add-on to some project, because we already have the freeway noise. Now we're gonna have 24 hours of lights. You said there's like dimming things that they can do. You can't dim gas pump lights in the middle of the night if there's people there. That's, I don't think, how gas stations work. But my biggest question is, I just wanna know if any of you would like to live there. Because I'm gonna have to live 1,000 feet from 120 gas pumps. And given the fact that we already didn't get the sound wall, it's already so loud, it's so loud. And I know that, you know, if the decision is made, then the decision is made, but it just feels like something this huge, a business park zoning is a business. It's the cheese factory. We all understood when the cheese factory went in. We don't like it, but it is what it is. That is very different than a 120 pump gas station. That's just not the same. And with the rezoning of this to be like an IKEA, it's so dark there right now. And the amount of lights is just going to be a life changer for all of us. So, thank you.
Thank you. You know, as we're getting, sometimes we're just getting a bit redundant, and this was the second time the sound wall came up, and the lady that came up the first time is correct. Sound wall was put in by the state of Wisconsin DOT. Not trying to pass the buck. That is who was responsible deciding where those walls went and why they went. The city of Oak Creek can help petition for them, along with your state representatives and things like that. But unfortunately, one of the people up here said they asked their alderman, the alderman or alderperson, not exactly sure, it's probably 5th district, it's probably alderman, was correct in his assumption that that is a state thing. So I did see another hand go up. We're getting kind of short of time. Yes, ma'am. One more time, and just so they catch you on the mic.
Denise Kalski, 2200 West Oakwood Road. My question is, are they ever going to open Elm to the just east of the expressway? Is it going to go through? Because I live in Oakwood, we have so much traffic, especially when Amazon lets out shift changes, Saputo shift changes. There's so much traffic on Oakwood. There's no shoulder and there's no sidewalks. Are they going to?
At this time, the city of Oak Creek is a no on that. I cannot speak for the state.
Because we only have a 2-lane highway, and again, even driving here today, parts of our road have 2 inches before it falls into the ditch. I ride my bicycle, and it's very dangerous right now, especially with all the additional traffic.
Oakwood is a narrow street.
It is. There's no shoulder.
Believe me, I've lived here a long time. I get it. It's unfortunately, it was much like Drexel was in years past.
But they've also widened Drexel.
They did, and that was due to the development and the need for it. Whether Oakwood ever gets that, I don't know. But right now, I can say there are no plans to go east with Elm from the city's perspective.
So the additional traffic will all come down Oakwood Road?
It could come down 27th Street. It could go a number of places. It could go back on the expressway. It's the traffic analysis. Again, you cannot speak from the audience, my dear.
Maybe something can be in
north-south express.
In the plans to widen the street.
Again, you must speak from the podium, ma'am, so please refrain. If I was misstated, what I'm saying is people will get on and off at I-94 and go back, a good number of people. Some people may choose to go south on 27th, north on 20th. I don't know where the traffic's going to go.
I think the residents that are going to be using Buc-ee's are going to be down Oakwood Road just to get there.
Possibly, yes, you're right. I'm sure, believe me, there's as many people here that are not excited about Buc-ee's There's probably 10 that are in the Oak Creek area. So you're right, residents may use it, but as they said, again, please refrain. We showed you respect at the podium. You can't speak from the audience or we'll be, again, there will be some residents that use it, but as they said, most of their visitors are not within, 20, 30 miles of where they're coming from. They come from outside of a radius of 100 or more. So again, this is looking for the people that are coming to and from, north and south, into the state, out of the state. So Christy kind of said it, you know, when you get into traffic, it is almost a crystal ball. And that's why we rely on the state traffic analysis for it.
So will they do any kind of studies on Oakwood at all?
They certainly will. You know what? I don't want to say that because I don't know if the state would do Oakwood. Because again, you're not exactly sure where the traffic's coming from. You have to assume much of it is going to come off the I system.
I'm just really
Yes.
worried about there's no shoulder, there's no size, there's additional traffic.
And those are legitimate questions and worries. So, you know, as we go, development has caused that stuff without a doubt. You know, there's no doubt about it. But much like when Amazon went in, they greatly improved that intersection. It changed greatly over at Ryan and 13th.
Nothing to Oakwood.
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Right, you're right, to Oakwood. And, you know, engineering's still working to defer everything away from that. Unfortunately, people put in GPS and they go the way they want to go sometimes. Okay. We're down to just a couple more and then we're going to move on. Yes, ma'am, and then Ricky weighing back.
Genders. I live at 2054 West St. John's Way, and they'll be out in my back door. I don't want a 25-foot big sign blinking in the middle of the night at my front door. I mean, they should be a little more kinder to our neighborhood. And I don't understand why Texas wants to come to Oak Creek. I mean, we're a little place. We don't have museums. We don't have any real thing going for us except for the lake. So why would they want to come here where they're not wanted? That's my point.
Now, again,
Most of the people here don't want them here.
You're correct. Most of the people here don't, but as I said, what I've received in the last few days, there's many people.
I know, and you're one of them.
And you know something? And you know something, ma'am? You are correct, because I looked at this from a lot of different directions, and this is gonna, please, I have the floor. I let you speak, so let me speak. I looked at this from many different directions, and you're right. This is gonna be here a long time, probably longer than I'm gonna be, without a doubt. But this is gonna really help not only the people, opportunities within Oak Creek, but in southeastern Wisconsin. Now, I have the floor.
I know, but I don't listen. I don't
You
buy
don't
that.
have to
I don't
agree
buy
with
that.
me, but you
I
can
know.
hear
I'm
me
listening.
out.
I'm listening.
Are you? Okay. So again, when you sit up here, sometimes you have the opportunity to make decisions that affect things locally, area-wise in southeastern Wisconsin, sometimes state, sometimes federally. This is something that actually helps the entire state. It helps all taxpayers all the way around. There's state tax being paid on all those sales. That state tax helps pay for services, schools, and everything else. Milwaukee County just enacted, they get a piece of the sales tax. So Milwaukee County is going to do better. Our state patrol is going to be stronger for it. Our House of Corrections, our court systems, it all goes into it. It's the way the system's set up is to be on property taxes. Having a strong business base is key to small communities such as Oak Creek thriving and doing okay. We're keeping the services here in Oak Creek at a pretty high level. Pretty proud of that. And you don't see your property taxes going up a lot. You're seeing your property values go up. I know, you look shocked. And a lot of people are. Now, again, you're speaking out of turn. Don't do that, please. Don't do that, please.
Where is the money going?
have
Because we couldn't even pay for our pool. That came from our dollars, right? You guys brought in
So,
all of these huge companies.
Again, I got the floor.
I got it.
So
you were also elected
you-
last
and
year
you-
to speak for us,
And you
Oak
did,
Creek.
and you didn't identify yourself, so please take a seat, ma'am. So again, this all goes in to services as it comes in, these businesses. I get it. You may not like this particular one.
We don't.
There's a lot of them that come in that we may all not be fond of. But they're here and they add to the fabric of this community, and quite frankly, they help the tax base here. They help the tax base of southeastern Wisconsin. It's really tough up here sometimes. Trying to keep things in check, and if you checked, again, on property taxes, the city of Oak Creek taxes did go down. Your house values are going up because there's a lot of value living in Oak Creek. We have strong school systems, good services, police, fire, plowing, and we have business opportunities here. We have banks, we have stores, we have restaurants, and people are coming down here to live because they find it desirable. We're a growing community.
It is a nice community.
It
I
is.
admit that. And I think the schools are great. I think we keep our community clean. But this, I'm sorry, this is, to me, is like trash. I'll be honest with you, I don't care for this because it's outside my door. And I think they should work with the community saying, well, we won't put a big Buc-ee's so she has to look at it every morning. I mean, really, we could tone it down a little bit. And we don't need 120 pumps. We could use maybe a dozen. I mean, there's things that they could do to be courteous to our situation too.
I agree, but keep in mind, 120 pumps seems massive. This is on 27 acres. Your average gas station here in Oak Creek, and I can point to one that sits on about 4 acres, and it sits on 36 pumps. The next time you pull into a gas station, take a look at how many pumps they have on a 4-acre lot. There's a lot of them, a lot of gas stations that exist like that in the area here. So again, this is a retail space. I think of this more as a retail space than a gas
Yes, but
station.
I'm just saying, what she said was, this is Texas, and we have Texas brisket and Texas that. We're not Texans, we're Oak Creek people. I mean, let's give me a break. I don't want Bucky Beaver out my front door. I would like to tone it down a little bit, and you could have compromised too. And I think instead of just having Texas, how about a little Oak Creek? And put some like T-shirts of Oak Creek, travel to Oak Creek. Wouldn't that be more reasonable?
They actually do that. It will be branded Bucky's Oak Creek.
Oh, we don't want to be Bucky's Oak Creek.
You just asked for it.
We don't want
Okay, I'm not winning here. So thank you, ma'am. Okay, with that, I'm going to take it to the commission. Oh, Ricky, I'm sorry. I did say you were up last. Sorry about that.
I'm Rick from City of Oak Creek. Address is 9955 South Cindy Lane. Been here for 42 years. Thing about the Elm Road that's there, that is actually Milwaukee County's road because they plow it. And so is 41 or 27th Street, that's all Milwaukee County too. That's all I gotta say, just so you know what's going on with it.
Thank you for that input. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to give the commission a chance just to weigh in.
Dan.
Oh, Andrew?
Andrew Vickers, City Administrator. I just wanted to really reiterate a couple key points because those are big picture, big ticket issues out there, and clarify regarding the TIF assistance. This property currently lies in City Tax Increment District Number 7. The statutory expenditure period for TID Number 7 expired in April of 2022. The city staff is preparing a resolution to close Tax Increment District Number 7 in a month or two in April of 2025. So before this gets built, the tax increment district will be closed. Several $100,000 of property tax relief because of that district closure will be coming in the following budget year. And that's really how tax increment districts work when they work successfully, which we have a pretty good track record. in the beginning of the conversation with Buc-ee's, in the middle of the conversation with the Buc-ee's, with Buc-ee's as recently as 2 weeks ago, Buc-ee's understands that the city has no ability via TIF assistance to pay for any traffic improvements, for any incentives. That is not something my office is bringing to the table, and I don't believe that our elected officials have an appetite for that. So just to be very clear on that, that has not been asked of the city, and we will continue to work with Buc-ee's to form a community partnership if this advances and moves forward. The second observation is really tough job. I mean, these folks are up here, there's citizen members, there's elected folks, the public hearing will be before our common council. It's really, really tough to represent 40,000 people in 33 square miles. Sometimes these opportunities, and I lived through the Amazon, I think somebody said they were gonna hit me with their car on the way home that night. It's really difficult to represent the interests of the greater community when you have a neighboring residential community that is going to be impacted by this proposal. There, I don't think anybody is discounting the fact that the residential neighborhood to the north is going to be impacted by this. What the lens of the elected officials representing the city at large and the Plan Commission representing the city at large is, given those factors that we are hearing, number one, are they surmountable? You know, do they make sense from an environmental perspective, from a light and noise perspective, et cetera? Are they surmountable, and is the greater benefit to the Oak Creek community and a greater community, you know, more impactful than what the things that we're hearing in the directly adjacent residential neighborhood? That is the process before us moving forward. If this proposal advances tonight, we get into how can this come into the community to not eliminate, it's not going to eliminate, it might be there someday. How can we mitigate the concerns that our elected officials here at a public hearing throughout these several meetings? So this is a solid first step in hearing what some of those issues are out there. This is the venue for it. We don't govern via social media and respond to those types of inquiries. The public hearings are the venue for that. And we'll have another one if this advances on March 18th to continue, probably have some more thoughtful and thorough answers to your questions, have some consultants in the room to explain how, if this goes forward, how it can be done in a way that is least impactful. Not at all impactful, but how is it least impactful to those that are directly impacted by the proposal? As Mayor Dan mentioned, you know, the response that they're hearing as elected officials representing everybody in this community is overwhelmingly positive. So the idea is, going forward, is how can we strike a balance between what's good for the greater community and how it can come in to mitigate the concerns of those that are going to have to live with it on a more daily basis.
Well said. Thank you, Andrew. Christine, any comment?
Yes, I have actually a question for the applicant, from the engineering specifically. Your name and address, please.
Yes, Eric Tracy, 570 Lake Cook Road in Deerfield, Illinois.
Okay, for that proposal, when it came in, what type of engineering assessment have you done from the safety perspective, from the traffic perspective? There are some steps you have to go through. From the soil analysis, what you have gone through?
Yeah, we will have to do quite a bit of work that will need to happen for the site plan approval. At this stage, we have completed a TIA, traffic impact analysis.
You know what TIA is?
We've completed, sorry.
What I'm gonna say is, before you select a site, and that site should work and be valid and applicable, you have to do some sort of assessment. What type of safety, specifically safety, what type of accidents have you evaluated and done those type of research?
Related to traffic or
anything, safety, operation,
sure,
traffic impact?
Christine, we're going to get into all that later. Right now, we're talking about
Yes.
the zoning and the comprehensive plan.
Exactly. So in order for me to weigh on the zoning, I need to understand how did that come in, so I understand where, yes, I can agree it's rezoned, or no, it doesn't make sense to be rezoned. So, especially safety, because this is very important. What type of analysis have you done?
Me personally, as a civil engineer, the safety of the site, we've looked into the traffic. Bucky's, as a group, has quite a bit of data on how their sites operate.
Talk
As a
about
civil
this
engineer,
site. I am a civil engineer as well.
okay.
So let's talk about the safety analysis report. Have you done one?
Geotechnical phase one.
Safety analysis.
We have not. I have not completed a safety analysis myself.
Okay, thank you.
Steve?
No questions.
Ashley?
No questions, thank you.
Greg?
I guess just to start, I know we're kind of sticking to the rezone. The first question is, I noticed in the report, it mentions that the land is under contract. So Bucky's does not own this land yet.
That is accurate, correct.
And then, I guess just speaking for myself, I know there's been a lot of comments and talk about this being a done deal. I was emailing questions to you up to yesterday, trying to get clarification and answers. Definitely, I originally thought this was on the north side, which seemed like an absolute no start, being that it would be right against the neighborhood. Now that it's a little bit further, I'm not negating the concern. I think somebody said you want to live next to one, which I can't say that I would. But I will say, representing the second district, feedback that I have received personally has been overwhelmingly positive, but that's easy for the second district to say. It's not in the second district. However, as an elected person for the second district, I represent their interests and talk to them as residents. As far as environmental concern with this being rezoned for potential use for a gas station, my full-time job is in compliance. I work at a regulatory agency inspecting underground tanks at gas stations. That's my full-time job. I did not have any concern when I read the plans. I know how far technology has come. I know the safety measures that it put in place. I will say, not that it makes it any better probably for neighboring people. I did have concern when I heard 120 pumps, because I think that's 120 individual dispensers, which make this double the size that it actually is. So from that aspect, I was pleased to hear it's only 60 compared to double that size. Completely anecdotal. I've been to 3 Bucky's in my travels. Obviously, nobody can guarantee until we see a traffic analysis where the traffic might be going. Anecdotal evidence, the 3 Bucky's I've been to, all the traffic comes off the ramp to Bucky's and right back on the ramp. They do not travel around the communities. But again, those are the only 3 that I've been to, so I can't speak for this one in particular. Sorry, I just wrote so many notes. I'm trying to read what else I have. Sorry. As far as nothing to do with the rezone, I did make a note about the sound barrier. Definitely something, at least my position in the city, I have no problem petitioning somebody at the state to see what their thoughts are and if that could be a thing. I guess that's it for now. I'll wait to see what other questions might come up, and if something else I read in these notes, I will bring it up.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Chris?
I had no further questions. They've all been answered.
Okay. Fred?
Yeah, I have a couple of concerns. I agree with the residents that there is an environmental issue here, but I think we can work with the people with Bucky's. We may have to downsize the facility, but you look at the location, it's on a very southwest corner of the city, and nothing goes in directly to the city. They get on and off the freeway, and that's it. They're not driving in on Bryan Road to Howell Avenue and so forth. So you have a lot of truck traffic going directly in the city. This is almost outside the city. That's a big advantage for them. But I think the size of their facility could be downsized. And of course, we have to take a look at the environmental issues that come up. But right now, I don't think we can just totally say no to the situation.
Thank you, Fred. Let me jump back to Greg. He had one more question, then we're gonna come down to you, Chauncey.
Not to catch the applicant off guard, but it did get brought up. Like I said, I've been to 3 of them. It's been in the middle of the night dark. I can't see the surrounding areas. It's been brought up that these aren't in or near residential areas. Do you know of other locations and vicinity to residential areas? Maybe if you have a specific one.
Yes, we do have others that are close to residential. Being from Houston, the first one that pops into mind is Katy, Texas. 53,000.
Thank you.
Commissioner Chandler?
Better? Okay, thank you. So one of my questions is in regards to customers. So what types of customers do you have? Because I heard a lot of different things, from truckers to cars. Can you share what the clientele looks like?
Yes, ma'am. It's very family oriented. If at any time you Google anything on YouTube or social media, it's one step away. And I know I'll get laughed at for this, but it's the Disneyland of gas stations. We do cater to family and children quite a bit. 18-wheelers are not allowed on the property other than deliveries. So it is not a truck stop in itself. Our customers in general, what we focus on is bringing them into the store. So the fact that we have 120 gas pumps, and yes, it's convenient for our customers. We want them to have the experience inside the store more so than just being a gas station. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that takes care of one of them. And
I have another question.
We'll get back to you. I'll let her finish up.
And then another question, just going back to the area that you identified as close to residential. So is it the same proximity, approximately 1,000 feet?
I wouldn't be able to answer that honestly. Like from what I know, it's very close to where my parents live. But measurement wise, I wouldn't want to misspeak on that.
Okay. Another question that I have in regards to, for example, that location or maybe others. So what's the process to get the residents involved, the neighbors who would be in that surrounding area, how to get them involved with the conversations about this?
Typically,
or my apologies, maybe it has happened already. So has that happened, and what does that look like, or if not?
For this project, I don't believe it's happened yet, but for other projects, whenever we have any kind of notice that is coming to the council, there is typically a rule of us notifying residents within X amount of feet. We comply to whatever that regulation is for the city, and go from there to hold a meeting to have them attend.
Oh, so can you share more detail in regards to this meeting? What does that look like?
I mean, it just depends per project. We comply in the sense of sending out notifications for whatever is required for where we are having that project contemplated. And then with those notifications being sent out to the outlying residents or anyone that's within X amount of feet for that project. It's typical for them to be notified of what we're doing for those meetings.
Okay. And then just kind of based on what you have heard from the residents and all of their concerns, could you share your feedback as it relates to their concerns? And I know there are a lot, yet some of the main concerns, of course, safety, also lighting, traffic. There were a lot of different things that seem to be top items. Is there anything that you can share with all of us in regards to their concerns?
We understand the concerns, and I'm not saying that by any means in a dismissive tone or at all. They are common concerns. We do have, we do take those into consideration, but we also have our standard, protocol for our projects as well. But they are heard, they are discussed. Each project is different. For example, the landscaping came up. There's a project that, we have extra landscaping that, we're bringing into that project because of the residents' concerns. What we can do, we try to do, but the complaints that are the concerns that we've heard tonight are very common for a project of this size.
So if they are comments, so what were some of the resolutions for maybe other areas that may help all of us?
I mean, that I would be here for a while.
Okay.
I won't speak on that tonight, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Fred, question?
Yeah, I have a question for the young lady. Can you give me some type of volume for your customers, or a breakdown of your customers? How many trucks, how many cars do you handle on a daily basis?
Well, trucks aren't allowed for beginners. So it's not, 18-wheelers, semis are not allowed.
Just deliveries.
Trucks, no.
Yep. So 4,000 to 8,000 cars per day visiting the store would be our average.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My apologies, Mayor, I do have one additional question.
Go ahead.
Christy, I have a question for you. So, in regards to this particular item, is it possible, if needed, to, instead of making a change or adding an update to that resolution, that it can be pending the feedback from DOT?
That would significantly delay the project.
We'll approach that one with DOT.
Thank you.
Okay. Good discussion. I understand you guys are, I get it. In your backyard, this ain't my first rodeo going through this. I can see it in your face. I heard it in your voice, and I know I'm not the most popular guy here tonight. I get that. Probably not at all with this neighborhood for sure. But again, I kind of stated my case as I looked at this from different ways. I'm going to do my best. A lot of these questions have kind of been answered, and we don't have definites, but traffic east-west on Oakwood, again, traffic analysis is going to have to go on. I can't speak. I don't know if the state will go that far, how far they go down alternate 241, which is 27th Street.
Mr. Mayor?
To,
One
yes,
thing, the DOT does not do traffic analysis on local roads.
that's the state highway, 27th.
I'm
I'm
talking
talking
about-
just the arterial stop, not Oakwood. I'm just talking 27th and Oakwood.
Okay.
So, but thank you for that correction. I appreciate it. Appreciation on the house, or appreciation, so to speak. Again, that's done. We reassess every year. That's no mystery here in Oak Creek. That goes on. It is done by state statute. It follows state code on how we assess. The impact of something like this on the value of your home, I don't know. So I really can't answer that. It's based on home sales, and as I said, Creek's a very desirable place to live. Homes typically have been selling for more than their value here in Oak Creek, but that'll happen at assessment time when it comes. Backups on traffic, again, that comes from state DOT on that flow, mostly off of Elm. As Greg said, the assumption is, at least from me, and again, I have not been to a Buc-ee's, but when I do travel, it's get on, get off type of thing. If I'm gonna go see an attraction, it's pretty much the same thing. So that's up to the DOTs. Gas station competition, assuming that they'll put everybody out of business, I don't think so. You know, we have multiple restaurants, multiple gas stations. Depending on which gas station's your favorite or most convenient. Let me tell you, I live off of 13th and Drexel. I will not be running down Elm Road to get gas. I won't do it. There's other options closer to me. I go for convenience in that one. But that's everybody's choice there. Quality of life, I talked about opportunities, not only what it brings to Oak Creek, but to the area. The city administrator kind of weighed in on that as well, as you take into account not only this neighborhood of X amount of people, but you take into the city as a whole as to what's going on and what opportunities it provides the city in the future. Water, it was talked about the environmental. One of the ladies came up, had some points about that. Again, stormwater management comes into this. EPA, DNR, heavily regulated on it. I don't want to see runoff into our water either, or into our Great Lakes. That's true of any gas station. I don't care if you got 120 pumps or you got one pump. We don't want it happening, and we're going to work hand in hand with everybody, engineers, the whole deal. Just because they're bigger doesn't mean they're going to get any slack on that one. We covered the TIF. City administrator spoke about that. There's no TIF available. We're actually closing that TIF and returning the money to the taxpayers. Greg covered the Buc-ee's and residential. We talked about the traffic on Oakwood. Sound barrier, Greg touched on that. I did as well. That's something we could petition the state for without a doubt. Totally understand you. There's a few other subdivisions that sit close to the expressway, and sound is an issue without a doubt. Safety standpoint, it was talked about calls and things like that. In some of our conversations in the last week or two, we did have our police chief on a call. Call volumes are actually very, very low at Buc-ee's. There's some businesses in Oak Creek that would shock you how often our police are there. They actually did not have concerns other than probably be a large grand opening. But for the day-to-day stuff, not much. And even in fender benders, in related stores, Buc-ee's reported that it's not a high volume of that because they base it on traffic flow in and out. Safety standpoint, calls typically low. The farm view we kind of talked about. We understand that it is a changing environment. I know, at one point I lived in a subdivision and it was the same thing. Since then, the subdivision's been added on to, and traffic has picked up significantly with the addition of the Drexel interchange. It's not the same town. I was here 35 years. It's not the same town. It's certainly not the same town that became a city 70 years ago. It's kind of evolution, and I know it's painful for some, but as we explain the city's thing is to grow and provide services and amenities to individuals. So we talked on that. And then light and noise pollution. Again, we do have city ordinances with cutoff lights, the whole thing. We haven't seen the plans for what the lighting entails and the whole thing. But we have learned some lessons along the way. We have put in some businesses where maybe not the street lights, but the light posts went too high. Maybe they went at 20, 22 feet, can be lowered. That's really a question for our electrical inspector along with Buc-ee's to see what's conducive to the area. I think the city administrator said it the best. We may not be able to resolve everything, but we're certainly going to work to make it palatable for the area. Now, I know you guys are looking at it like, we're not going to get the job done. We can probably find a way. This isn't insurmountable in just a second, man. So Obviously, you know, I stated where I'm sitting. I think overall, not only is this a benefit to the city of Oak Creek, I think it raises all boats, southeastern Wisconsin, the county, and even the state. So again, as long as we can make the plans work, that's the key, and have the least amount of impact to the surrounding neighborhoods and traffic. We want a safe community. We want a nice community. There's ways to make it fit. Same fears came up when other large places came in, such as IKEA, such as Amazon, and things of that nature. You know, we figured a way to make it work within the neighborhood. So, ma'am, I will let you come on up. I know you want to say something, so. Sure.
That's for you guys. When people come,
Yeah.
oh, Gloria Genders, 2054 West St. John's Way, I'm your neighbor. And when you start building, you're gonna have dirt all over 27th Street. Are you gonna clean it up every night, every night, so it's not dusty in our neighborhood? Will you be able to do that?
So ma'am, that's more of a city question.
Oh.
So what we do during conditions and restrictions, just like any construction project, we will require them, first of all, the silt fence goes up, the whole deal, but you're still gonna have trucking traffic in and out. Usually sweepers take care of the immediate area and the whole thing. Nothing we haven't dealt with in the past.
Well, when they were doing the cheese factory in Franklin, that day they were dumping dirt, and the Oak Creek kids were standing for the bus, and they were all covered with dirt, and no one protected them. And they're breathing that air into their lungs. Little kids, they were like kindergarten kids, first graders. And that's my concern. Somebody needs to be responsible when they build, clean up, and make sure our neighborhood is clean. Not having mud all over the place and everything like that. And that's a US highway, so Oak Creek doesn't have nothing to do with that except the county.
Well, again, you're right, but the site itself, we want it kept clean. So in the past, as we've done developments, sweepers are out there, we're making sure we're getting the stones up, the whole thing. That comes in conditions and restrictions on building. Just like they have a time frame to build, they'll have conditions and restrictions on how to keep the site.
Well, you know, you're talking about safety, and ever since Elm Road was built, we've had 2 shootings and a shooting at the ER at Ascension, right off of Elm Road. And the 2 shootings was a guy out in, what do you call it, on the north side, and came and they had a tiff on the freeway, and the guy got shot in the head. The other one was the guy got shot in the back by stealing his car. And I'm just saying, is this gonna bring more trash into our neighborhood? Because safety is my problem. I'm getting older, I don't wanna deal with this stuff.
You are correct, but the average visitor, as I said, they have very few call volumes going on. I can't speak for the road rage that goes on in the area, and unfortunately,
Well-
people are resorting to more and more gunplay. I don't agree with it, but that's
And
unfortunate.
that's what I'm saying, you know, there's trafficking and, you know, guns coming into the neighborhood. The police are always stopping people for that kind of stuff. And I'm just kind of concerned about,
It's unfortunate. Again, they're family orientated. So, you know, any business, you can say the same thing about IKEA, Target, anybody. So,
oh, well, they're boring.
anyways,
IKEA is
thank you. I
boring.
mean, safety is the utmost. So, you know, we'll do everything we can. Ma'am, last word. Come on up. Name and address.
Sarah Shreve, 2311 West Oakwood Road. My question is if you guys would consider a different business for this location. Obviously, you want to develop the land, we recognize that. But would you consider a restaurant, a business, something that doesn't bring this level of traffic to our backyard, this level of light pollution, noise pollution, traffic, all the things that we have to investigate to make this work? It seems like we're trying to make this work when there may be other business opportunities where half of us aren't even going to show up for it because it's going to be not a big deal for us. Would you consider that?
Thank you, Sarah. So this runs the process. If it fails and another business approaches us, we certainly would consider anything that comes. But Bucky is what's before us today, what's considered to do the land purchase and the whole thing. So we run the course and the process with Bucky's before anything else. We don't own this land. you gotta keep in mind.
Understood.
So-
So if anybody's watching and wants to start a business in Oak Creek, there's a plot of land that maybe you could
Okay.
contend Bucky's for.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, no, that was it. Last one. That was it. Come up, ma'am. And then we'll call a question after that. Because we're getting very
We're looking
redundant.
for the best solution for all of us. It seems that this is very rushed, that we're being given very little notice of this. I appreciate Christine's comments and Greg's and everyone else's. I do not appreciate the fact that this is going to put the project behind. How can we work together to take the proper time to make the best decision for Oak Creek and for all of us? And thank you for the point of order, sir.
Thank you. The lady in back, and then I'm gonna go to the council.
I want to thank you.
Name and address.
Sorry,
please.
that's right. Britt DeVusik, 2580 West St. John's Way, across the street from many of my neighbors that spoke. Thank you for being here tonight to listen to us and our concerns. Thank you for coming to speak with us as well about Buc-ee's, and you too, sir. I just want to know, after this is over, how do we best contact you? Is there something you can put up on the board for, like, who could we write any extra questions or concerns to if we didn't get to bring them to you tonight? Thank you.
Probably the best person would either be myself or Christy in planning.
Okay, and we'll just go on the City of Oak Creek website and just
Yeah, and you know what?
track down an email.
Because quite frankly, if I don't have the answer, I'm going to staff.
I know,
anyways.
yeah. So I didn't know if we had-
It is a work in progress.
Right.
As we're going through this.
Right.
And it's really not a rush job. This is just the beginning of the process. As Christy said, there'll be a public hearing in March.
Yeah.
And we'll move on. You know, this is just the start of any project like this. Whether
Right.
it was a business park, it would take till June to get through anyways.
I just thought that would be good closing questions so we knew who we could maybe contact. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yep, have a good night. Thank you, neighbors.
Okay, Commission, I'm going to look for a motion on item 5.
Orc moves that the Plan Commission adopt resolution number 2025-2, amending the City of Oak Creek 2020 Comprehensive Planned Use category from business park to commercial for the properties at 10700, 10820, and 10840 South 27th Street.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, beginning with Ashley.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, nay.
And I know.
Bulge, aye.
Okay, motion carries. I'm going to go right to the rezone on 6, which was adjacent, and we went over, and that's to review the request to rezone those properties mentioned from agriculture to B6 interchange. Look for a motion.
Clerk recommends to the Common Council approval of a request to rezone the properties located at 10700 and 10840 South 27th Street from A1 Limited Agriculture District to B6 Interchange Regional Retail District, and to rezone the property located at 10820 South 27th Street from RS2 Single Family Residential District to B6 Interchange Regional Retail District.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, beginning with Greg.
Lorick, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, nay.
And I know.
Bulge, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Okay, moving on. Item 7, it's adoption of our 2025 scheduled meetings for the Plan Commission. Please take a moment. Thank you all for coming out. Appreciate that.
There's supposed to be a schedule in here?
Thought so.
Christie, is there a schedule in our packet?
I don't see it. Well,
Put it up on the screen. Oh, it's here, never mind. It's on the screen, that's fine.
all right. So everybody going forward, take a look at the following calendar. Obviously, we're approaching February, so we have the 2 plan commissions. We could, folks, if you're going to have conversation, please go to the hallway. We always have the two meetings, second and fourth Friday, or fourth Tuesday. The only place we don't have it, it looks like we vacated November, and we also only have one in December going forward.
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yep. So Christy, you want to elaborate on it? Folks, can I ask you to step in the hallway, please? We're still conducting a meeting. All right. Christy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, the proposal before you is to maintain the 2 meetings per month, except November and December. The second meeting in November would fall Thanksgiving week, and the second meeting in December would fall Christmas week. And in anticipation of a lot of traveling, I mean, if we have, we anticipate the commission possibly, conflicts with those potential weeks. We did have the same calendar schedule in 2024. It worked out well, and if there is an urgent matter, obviously we would contact the Plan Commission and ask if they would be available for a meeting those 2 months. But we do anticipate meeting the twice a month, unless, of course, we don't receive any applications for a particular meeting.
And once again, if by chance things aren't ready, there's always an opportunity that it could be canceled. So there's really nothing pressing about this or odd about this. So.
And I'm sorry, being new staff, we didn't realize this is a normal step that the Plan Commission adopts it. So I apologize for it being a little later than normal for your consideration. We'll know better next year.
So what we're looking for is formal adoption of the meeting calendar. Any questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll look for a motion.
Seeper moves to approve the schedule for the coming year of 2025.
Lorick seconds.
Roll call, Bukevich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Seipert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Anna, aye.
Balch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Okay, all that's really left is adjournment. Commissioners, I want to thank you. Long meeting, always a tough meeting when something like this happens. Obviously, we've kind of been up and down paths like this before, but we'll go through the entire process going forward, and we'll see what comes of it. It's quite too early to start talking about traffic patterns, safety, Oakwood Road, and everything else. Not to dismiss the neighbors; they got legit concerns. Understand that, but keep in mind, this was not a quick process. We did look at this. I looked at this, and believe me, I didn't know what a Buc-ee's was just a few months back, quite frankly. So when you really take it into account, this is a good community partner. I've said it. It's going to do a lot of good things, not only for the city of Oak Creek, but, the southeastern Wisconsin, the South Shore, Milwaukee County, and the state. So we'll work through this, and we'll make it, I think, as Andrew said, as least impactful as we possibly can going forward. So there's no questions, comments, or discussion. We can move for adjournment.
Lorick moves to adjourn at 7:43.
Seipert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Chris.
Guzikowski, aye.
Seipert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Anna, aye.
Balch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye. All right, night, everybody. Thank you for streaming in.